Welcome back. Today we're looking after the lawnmower. We have an issue with the cutting deck, and the gear shift mechanism has some issues, so we probably need to pull out the gearbox as well. It looks like the shift fork has some wear. We need to look. It's not super critical, but the cutting deck was really bad. I took a lot of footage, but unfortunately the camera played up and just overwritten it. I have no idea, because it didn't do it before, but that's technique. So, not much cutting action to see. We cut that out, and that one, and that one, so that needs welding up. That's what we cut out. A couple of other things to address. These cables which are pulling the height adjuster, they're broken off somehow. That needs looking at. It's an old Westwood which is believed to be manufactured in or around 85, so that's 30 years plus eventually. It's a diesel. Quite economical if you got a big garden, otherwise you're gonna run to the petrol station every day. What I already did was, hopefully that's visible, I put some adjustable roll here, because originally it's just a bend U-shaped piece of rod which breaks off, so I put something decent here. That seems to work pretty good. A few other things on that one here, but it basically works. It's a work in progress. Alright. It says 85W16D, serial number 181. So I assume this is built in 1985. That's our job for today. Welding the thing up, paint it, and on the underside I'm going to use some, I scraped the loose crap off, and I'm going to use some car woody underseal, plastic based. Hopefully that helps a little bit. It's some stone chip protection stuff which you normally use for the car. That should prevent it from chipping. I think it has been repaired before, because if you look at the bearings we'll see. These are the bearing shafts. It's actually a piece of hex stock, which is the edges turned round. There's a little bit of wear on this one, but the other one was really badly worn. So what I did was welding it up, turn it down to size, which is 25mm on the corners, and milled that flat. I'll just show you how I did that. So that's how I turned it, between centers, and just used the faceplate as a catch plate basically. What I did before was I clamped it on the known good sides, or on the known good flats, and then I put a center in, so that gave me a fairly true running shaft after welding. And on the mill we just did it this way. We basically just milled it flat. Sorry again, but the footage is completely gone. It was about an hour of footage, and nothing you can do. Gone is gone. So our job for today is weld the housing and spray it and probably assemble it tomorrow, because I should do some mowing over the weekend. The two shafts are driven by a tooth belt, and if we compare old and new, this is old, almost no teeth left, and this is new. That's a 1440 8M20. Because the blades are counter-rotating, so you need to time them, otherwise they're gonna crash into each other. These are the blades. They need some sharpening. So what we're going to do is just plasma cut some sheet metal here. This is actually a part of an old, I think it was an amplifier or something like that. We're just going to recycle that. Okay, so we go apart here. The idea is actually having that bigger part on the top and the other one slides under, because the blades are rotating this way, so it doesn't catch the grass on the edges. So we're gonna make that the size now. Cut out. So, sheet metal, non-precision work. That's how it's supposed to go in. Obviously under the, and then it goes underneath here. I need to cut the corners a little bit, so that's the principal idea of it. So all we need to do is cutting the corners here, and then we should have a reasonable fit. That's what we're going to do now. I think we're actually folding up, and I'll cut the corners here. Alright, we'll come back when it fits. So that's how it fits. Put a bit of a relief in, so it goes in here. Just mark the areas to weld and clean it up and weld it in. So we're ready to weld here. We do it with a MIG welder. A bit windy, but should be alright. You can't see anything here. Well, let's weld that in and we'll come back. So we gave it a bit of car body seam sealant to make everything smooth, and now we put some plastic coating on it. Hopefully that stops sticking the grass to it. We'll do that from the top as well with that sealant. So it's just rusting. That's the problem, because the wet grass is causing corrosion. Alright, let's let dry a little bit. It's rubber. Don't know if it's rubber or, but it's paintable seam sealer for cars. Great stuff. Alright, let's spray some plastic. So we put some stone chip protection in there. Still not fully dry, so we'll let it dry, and then to the other side. Well, we got a deck covered and it looks all good. I decided to plastic coat it on both sides, so alright. Just did the hardware. Gonna carry on tomorrow, dinner time. Well, it's the next day. We're gonna reassemble the whole lot. We've got some new bearings because the old ones are pretty short. So they are box standard 6205 bearings. So you can get them very cheap. You don't need to buy them at the lawnmowers guys, which are charging you £10 for a bearing. What we're going to do is we put some grease on the shafts, just to prevent it from rusting, because it's not watertight, and if it rains or if the grass is wet, you just get corrosion on the shaft, and if you ever want to get the bearings off again, it's going to be a pain. Because I lost all the footage from dismantling, I'm I'm gonna assemble it from memory and hopefully I'm doing it right. I have no idea, but we'll see if it fits. So it's a bit of a trial and error today. Very first this one goes on, and then the bearing goes on, and then you're gonna smash the bearing down. Never hit the bearing on the outside because you're gonna damage it, so always do it on the inside. Yeah, you could do that with a press, which I'm probably gonna do because this is really tight here. I think the other one isn't that tight. That was the repaired one here. That was the repaired one, so that's a bit tighter. Yeah, this is just slip fit here. I'm gonna do that on a press and come back. So we pressed it on. It was just a bit tough at the bottom, but I was expecting that because I deliberately made it a tight fit. So we're gonna put those spacers on. And then simply the next bearing goes on. Again, something in between. I think we did a good job with the turning. Sits really tight. Okay, so now the thin washer, and then it goes into the mower housing, and then this goes on top of it, and that's the reason for the thin washer here. And then the thick washer comes on, one of those, and pulley, another of these washers, this washer, and that's how it comes together. Apparently the housing is in the middle, so you're gonna fit that, and the other one here is the same, except it's got the drive pulley on top of it with that washer in between. So that's what I remember, and I hope that's okay. Simple design, but apparently it works. So let me fit that into, and I'll come back on that. So we already made the first mistake here because the bearings don't fit through the holes. So I have to pull it off again. So only the bottom bearing goes into, and then you just stick it through. Put the bearing on. And then the cover shield goes on. It's weird, I can't see the point why the hole isn't big enough, but doesn't matter. I know it now. Obviously we use all new hardware because the old one is really rotten. So let me get that bolted on, and we'll come back. Oh, and that's how it's going to be assembled. The tooth belt is actually twisted there are some bearings running in the middle, so it doesn't touch. What you need to do is actually pulling that out and then tighten the screws, because that's the only way to tension the belt. It's a bit of a weird design, but that's how it is. So I'm gonna pull that out, tighten the screws here, and then do the same on the other side, and then we're gonna fit the spacer bearing in the middle. So we got them timed correctly, 90 degrees apart, so they won't hit. Before it was, the timing was a bit off, so that's how it should work. So that's the bearing stack here. It actually goes into that thing here, and they just put some spacers and these bearings in. Apparently they all shot here, so we got some new ones. The thing is, it's got to be assembled in situ, because otherwise you can't get the belt in anymore. So it's got 4 bearings and that spacer, and then it goes here. I have to use the old nut because that's something imperial which I don't have. So and then it goes in like so. Belt is in the middle, and that just spaces the belt so the teeth don't rub on each other. Funny design, but apparently it works. So you're gonna stack those up. All babies are crying again. We've got many sheep out there, lambs actually. So let's put that together, bolt it in, and then we'll see. So that's how it all comes together. It's stuck. Lights are hitting it. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird design, but apparently it works. It doesn't touch it anymore. The old belt was actually touching the corner here, and that was rubbing the edges off. You can see that's completely rubbed off here. So let's put the cover on, tighten the blades, and we're good to go. So we got it all back together. The belt has to go on with the pulley, otherwise you can't get it on, because it's probably to prevent it from spinning off. We've got counter-rotating plates here. That's the reason for the tooth belt, and obviously if they're 90 degrees apart they shouldn't hit each other. I sharpened the blades. One thing to look at is the cutting edge has to point to the rear. That's the rear end. So the blades are not the same. If they're the wrong way around, they're not cutting, because the rotational direction is this one. So if you got one of these, always think that the cutting edge points towards the rear if it rotates. I think we're good to go, and we put it back to the mower and see what it does. It doesn't hit anything here, so we're fine. Tooth belt is a bit stiff still, but should be okay. New nuts and bolts here. Obviously nylocks here as well, because it's a bad thing if one of the blades flies away. So I think that concludes the repair of the mower deck. I'll put put it on the mower. It's raining at the moment. I'm probably not doing it right now, but I'll put it back on the mower and take some footage from that as well. Well, it seems it's cutting fine. Not red anymore, but everything looks good. I didn't bother with a height adjuster because I need to look up some pictures of some later Countach mowers, how they did it. I did this way last year and it was okay. I just adjusted the rear a little bit, so it's fine. And it's got a funny whirling sound. It's because the tooth belt is funny, no? Sounds like a turbine, but yeah, I'm happy so far, and still a lot to do on it, but that should it be for now from the lawnmower. Till next time.